Big breaking news has just come through concerning the takeover of Manchester United. This is the hot spot. Well, new documents have leaked from a very quite fairly credible source, that is the United Stand that follows Manchester United to the latter, where these documents have just revealed the proof of registration of the company, the holding company, that is 1-2 Foundation. That is the company that was set up by Sheikh Jassim to take over Manchester United. Now, these are the documents that have leaked. Of course, we have no reason to doubt or verify them. We have no reason to doubt them at all because the source is a credible one. But these are the documents that have just come out concerning Manchester United and the takeover, confirming that Sheikh Jassim indeed registered that company. That's the company number. If you're in the UK, I know you've got thousands and thousands of people who watch us in the UK. You can type in that number and try to do research about it, whether it is a true registered company. But the Registrar of Companies for England and Wales hereby certifies that 92 UK Holdings Limited is this day incorporated under the Companies Act of 2006 as a private company, that the company is limited by shares, and the situation of its registered office is in England and Wales, given at Companies House, Cardiff, on the 15th of June 2023. Now, of course, we are trying to, of course, go on with details concerning Manchester United, but there is more. Of course, just first to give you more on this document, again, it shows you the company directors there, the type, it's a person, the full forename Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad bin Jassim bin Jabbar. The surname is Al Thani. Address that is recorded as company registered office in Qatar. Then date of birth is born in 1982. You were asking about his age. He's not so old. He's Qatari. And occupation, he's a company director. That is the document that has leaked from some fairly credible sources. Now, that is among the latest. This is the hot spot where we get to give you anything concerning the takeover of Manchester United, any development as it comes. But that is the latest, showing documents of that company 1-2. I told you before about the company called 1-2 Foundation that Sheikh Jassim formed to see through the takeover of Manchester United, because certainly you cannot take over a club, a big entity like that, as an individual. You've got to do it through a company. So those are documents proving that, because the company did not exist before. It was formed specifically for this purpose of seeing through the takeover of Manchester United. So those are the latest documents that have leaked, coming from credible sources, as we do continue to count down to the announcement. I told you in the previous video I posted that Rio Ferdinand just came out earlier today and did confirm that Sheikh Jassim is his announcement is imminent. That is Rio Ferdinand, who came out earlier on today and did confirm that statement. So the build up to the announcement is interesting. Now, there is more news concerning this takeover coming through from one of the most credible sources in the world, one of the most credible newspapers in the world, that's called the Reuters. This is from their official Twitter account. The Qatari offer is currently viewed by the Glazers more favorable than a bid from British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe, founder of chemical producers Ineos, the sources have added. Well, I probably started from one of the last messages. Let me get to you an earlier one before that. English Football Club, Manchester United. Okay, there it is from the Reuters. You can go, if you are on Twitter, you can go on and look at that source. You can read details of that tweet for yourself, of course, as we do go on. So it says exclusive. It's an exclusive. English Football Club, Manchester United is negotiating granting exclusivity, and we are going to talk about that in a bit. It is one of the new developments that are just coming up, granting exclusivity to the consortium led by Qatar's Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani in the talks to sell itself for more than $6 billion US. People familiar with the matter have said. That is one of the reports that just came in from the Reuters. Then, of course, again, it continues to say as a breaking story, Premier League soccer club Manchester United is in the final stages of a tense bidding war. And this is what has been reported that, and we've been saying it here before, that there has been, these two parties were told to put together their bids and come make presentations. But there seems to be a tense bidding war that might actually end up in court if one party loses, that it is a bidding war going on between the two parties, that is Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim. Why? Because of the reports that are coming out talking about how it is believed that the Glazers in exclusivity conversations with Sheikh Jassim and his camp. The Glazers say they have been spending money. They have been told, they have been shown over the months, like we've been reporting before things twisted in favor of Sheikh Jassim. The Glazers were convinced that their bid was the one, the Glazers were listening to. Rather, Ineos, that is Sir Jim Ratcliffe, was convinced that his bid was the one being listened to. So development saying that there is even a possibility of exclusivity being discussed by the Glazers and Sheikh Jassim. He's saying that would be illegal. He would go to court because he has been paying lawyers and a team to come and push through this deal. So it's becoming interesting. It could end into a battle. It could be ending into court. It has not ended, but of course, what it looks like clear now. What looks clear now is that Qatar's bid is taking a cruising lead that is leaving Sir Jim Ratcliffe uncomfortable. So, guys, this is what is just coming in. Of course, there is more to the story that I'm going to continue giving you. There are also, of course, the latest coming through a tweet that has just come in from Sky. Of course, let me read it for you, guys, again, as we do continue to get closer to the pronouncement. The Sky Sports has reported that the share price of Manchester United has spiked by almost 10% today. Yes, before, last time I checked around 3 hours ago, it was at 22.22. Let me check it for you one more time as we speak right now. The Manchester United share price, but this is the Sky Sports reporting that it has spiked up by 10%. Earlier on, it had spiked up by about, wow, this is now 6.5% as it is now. It is at 24.74 US dollars. Before, it was 22.23. That's the last time I checked, about 3 hours ago. So rather 3 hours ago. So it has gone up now by 6.5%. That's too high. This is the second high. Now it has again gone up higher as I speak right now, live in real time, 24.70 US dollars. That's about 6.37. It is oscillating between 6.46 and 6.3%. The highest it has gone today is believed to be 10%. So all these are signs, and I don't know. I do know we are not so much interested in share price and all, but I'll not dwell into the share price talk and all, but the fact is, what this means is that the club is up for. It's a sign that the club is being discussed. It's in the market. If you're going to buy something, is people are interested in something. If demand, they say, if there is demand for something, certainly the prices will be, will change, will keep increasing. So the fact that it is going out, it is going up and changing and oscillating in a record time, it shows you that there is a transaction that is trying to go on concerning the club. So that's the layman's way of explaining it. So that's why the share capital is a good sign when it comes to this takeover conversation. Now, Sheikh Jassim, I'm continuing to read the post from Sky. It says that Sheikh Jassim has made 5 bids to buy, of course, the club. We know that. That is valued at £6 billion. Now, the talk, the latest report that came through earlier on was talking about the exclusivity, how the Glazers were trapped with in conversations with Sheikh Jassim's camp over exclusivity. Now, this did not rub the Sir Jim Ratcliffe camp the right way, so it is believed that they are furious and they are contemplating going to court to try and mitigate this situation. However, Sky is reporting that no exclusivity has been granted to any party interested in buying or investing in the club. But guys, if you're just joining, and I'm going to go through your comments there. If you're just joining, the news coming in is that first of all, documents have leaked that is proving that. I've just shown them to you. If you're just joining us, I can show them to you one more time. Of course, if you're in the UK, and I know we've got thousands and thousands of followers who watch us in the UK, you can verify this and drop in your comments there. You can check online. I do know there are means to check online to verify that company's existence, but also the ownership of the company that is there. That's the company there. The registration number, if I'm to put it there for you, in case you don't see it right, you can contribute to this live, because I do want us to understand the Manchester United situation together. I do want us to follow it together. Let's work together to try and verify and get to understand everything that comes with it. Now that's the company number 14938922. I was trying to research it, and of course try to verify, but I think because of where I am not in the UK as I speak now, probably that is why I could not go so far. But I believe if you're in the UK, you can be able to verify the existence of this company in that number. And it was registered today. This according to, of course, the leaked documents. Of course, we can say they are fake and all, like people have been, saying about the reports that have been coming out concerning Manchester United. But you've got no reason to believe or doubt this. But I think you have more reason to think it could make sense because of what we've had. The earlier reports that came out earlier today, or even not a report, it was a video of Rio Ferdinand, a Manchester United former captain, a legend. Now remember, this Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, situation had divided a bit of the legends of the club, because obviously, if there is a bidding process like this, both parties would know that it's so important for you to involve the legends of the team. It's so important if you're going to have any progress, because in football, in sport, more so in football, legends are respected. So if you're going to push through, if you're in a bidding war, you want to have certain legends on your side. It's very important. So it is believed that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has got his group of legends. Sheikh Jassim has got his legends as well. Now, this is not to say that Rio Ferdinand is team, Sir Jim, or he's part of the legends that are trying to push through the Sheikh Jassim's bid. But clearly from that video, he showed that he's happy that this is it's imminent and it's going to happen. So he's clearly showing us where he falls. But for me, I have every reason to believe what Rio Ferdinand said in that video, because he did not make a tweet. He did not say it through a third party. He recorded himself. Rio Ferdinand is a social media person. He's always online. He's always on Twitter. He knows the power of social media. He's exposed. I mean, social media, spreads most in the UK. He's a broadcaster, so he knows exactly what he was doing. He wouldn't come as a club legend, record himself and saying that the Sheikh Jassim bid is imminent without any source, a credible source. I think it will even kill him as someone, a former footballer who is trying to build a career as a broadcaster. He has been invited to analyze on some of the biggest platforms in sport. If you think about it, I don't think, for me, this is just a rumor anymore. I think the fact that a former Manchester United captain has come up and recorded himself confirming that imminently, sooner rather than later, Sheikh Jassim is going to be confirmed. It is just a sum up. It is just confirming what we have been talking about here on the Hotspot, and of course all other channels and platforms and news sources that continue to cover Manchester United and the takeover situation. So for me, and even now these leaked documents coming up on the same day, the stock value of Manchester United going up so high on the stock exchange to a record 10%, going high by a record 10%. Everything for me, like I've been saying consistently, is that everything has been pointing to Manchester United being sold to Sheikh Jassim. There is no reason for you to doubt it, guys. And I'm speaking this as a journalist. For those who don't know, I'm not just a United supporter, but I'm a journalist as well with a fair, time of experience in this. Robinson Francis saying when is the announcement being done? It's imminent, according to that man, Rio Ferdinand, the former United captain and legend of the club in every right. Robinson Francis is saying, and which players are they focusing to sign in the transfer window? Well, obviously, Manchester United has been linked to so many players. I was hoping to come back at 10 p.m., go live and give you more details about United and the transfers, but also the fixtures that were released earlier on today. This news comes out on the day fixtures are released. It should have been the talk of the day, but I think strategically it was things were released on the day of the fixtures to suppress the news of the fixtures so that we focus more on the takeover. And I think that's a good thing for Manchester United, because the brand now of Manchester United is out there. It's what everyone is thinking about. But that man is the one who first broke the news earlier on today, before Reuters came on to let us know that there is a bidding war going on, because Jim Ratcliffe was not happy upon hearing rumors that there is talks of exclusivity. Exclusivity means that the Glazers would only listen to Sir Jim Ratcliffe at this stage. That's exclusivity, that they're discussing exclusivity. No, let's go into the boardroom, listen to only us, and we are getting out of this boardroom with a decision. Exclusivity means that no two parties are going to be listened to at this stage. Both bids are there. They were looked through and, rebuffed. But right now is the final phase. The expectation was, because earlier on the Glazers told these two parties to put their final bids together and come in meetings and do presentations. Now, it seems where we've reached now, the Glazers are saying we don't want to listen to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. We are discussing now. We have decided who we want to sell to, but we are discussing now. We are exclusively discussing with them. There is no more room for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to come in and make his bid. Now, of course, that is what a United supporter would want to hear. But legally, they will tell you, of course, we've invested in this. You don't just lock us out just like that. It's not a game. So that's where the legal battle would come in. But I think. It doesn't matter at this point. The Glazers, like we've already seen, have always been about the money. What they have always wanted is money. And I was telling you earlier on before that if you look at, it's, I think, common sense, simple logic. If you look at the two parties, which party has the money? It is Sheikh Jassim, isn't it? So certainly, they would be interested in listening to him more than Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is also confused with his own bid. The bid is not clear. There is no clarity in his bid. Face them out at 20%. The guys are not wanted by the fans. No one wants to hear that. Even the Glazers themselves wouldn't want to stay one more month, be seen at Old Trafford. No one wants the Glazers right now. I think it's beyond return. I think the damage that has been caused to the Glazers is beyond repair. All they've got to do is cash in now. But they want to cash in with the highest amount of money they can get, and two of the two parties will give them that money. For me, it was always a question of time, like I've consistently been saying. If you're just joining the hotspot, do subscribe, because we've been trying to analyze this takeover situation to understand and get the news behind the news. But for me, it looks obvious that I think we don't even need to be under pressure. We are waiting for maybe a joint announcement from the two parties. Maybe that's what they're planning. But it is, for me, clear that it has been done. The Glazers, that's why United has been able to make moves now. There's clarity on who the owners are, how much money they'll probably have to spend. It looks like United now is trying to execute Plan A, because Plan A has always been Mason Mount, Plan A has always been Kim Min-jae, Plan A has always been Diogo Costa, Plan A has been Kylian Mbappe, Victor Osimhen, rather not Mbappe because the Mbappe news came, but Harry Kane, Victor Osimhen, and now conversations concerning United are linking them back to the first players they wanted, Rasmus Højlund. So that shows you that now they are assured of the money, because they are going back to their initial A plan, not the backup plan of all these forms of nobody players that United were looking at. So for me, these are, we shouldn't worry about Robinson. I think we shouldn't be worrying about when it is announced. I think we know it now. It has been announced, but not officially confirmed by the two parties. So for me, there is no way we are going to be seeing any surprises. I think it's more than 99% for me done, that we're just pending one thing, official announcement by the club and the Glazers. Eli Kanyesije saying, when do you think that Manchester United will be announced as the Qatari takeover? That's exactly what I've been trying to explain. I do think, I do know, I do believe that the takeover is imminent, like Rio Ferdinand did announce, if you didn't get the details. But the latest that has just come in is that documents have leaked. These documents show the existence in the UK of a company called 1-2 Foundation. This is the 1-2 company that has been formed. It was registered officially today, approved today. And this company has been formed particularly to see through the purchase of Manchester United by Qatar. That's Sheikh Jassim and his bid. These documents, now, like I said, I've got no reason to doubt them. If you're there and you're watching us from the UK, where I know we've got thousands and thousands of people watching in London, in Leeds, in Manchester, guys, if you're in the UK, you can search that company number 149389222, so that you also do some journalism, some research in the UK, and let me know whether that company is there, whether it exists. You can call the registrar of companies of England and Wales. I think this should be public information. That is why it's not illegal for these documents to be out. It's not illegal, because this public should be known out there. There is nothing to hide. There is no secrecy. It's known. It's in the media that Sheikh Jassim is trying to buy Manchester United through 9-2 UK Holdings. 9-2 was derived from the class of 1992 that won the treble, the famous team that had, of course, Sir Alex Ferguson put together a team of young boys from Scotland, from the UK, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Nick Butt, name them. Put them together to set up a force that went on to win United the treble that was won in 1999, the European treble, the first European treble to be won by an English club. And it was only beaten, that record was only broken by Manchester City. That was this season. So that is, guys, the situation. Those are the documents. You can go on and verify them if you have to. But the latest now that has just come in is that one, in the few hours ago, and this was broken, this was news that was broken by Reuters, that the takeover meeting was going on. It was a huge bidding war going on right now as we speak, as it is believed that Sheikh Jassim, that's the man who first broke the news earlier on, but it is believed that Sheikh Jassim's camp has been trapped in exclusive negotiation. They are discussing exclusivity. Sky Sports has come up to say there is no exclusivity that has been granted to anyone to talk, to negotiate, but the stock price of Man United has gone up by a record 10%. All these are signs. The legend of the club, a former captain, Rio Ferdinand, he wouldn't just come up and post a video of himself outside a train. It is like he had just got the news and he couldn't wait. And for me, that is how, you see, you need to read the news. As a journalist, you're taught to read the news behind the news. If you look at and analyze the situation, Rio Ferdinand was on a train. I think he was caught moving in movement, going somewhere. He gets the news. He certainly must have confirmed the news, because Ferdinand, after he retired, he became a broadcaster. He's not a football coach. You see him on TV analyzing games every day. He's a broadcaster. So he knows the consequences of him coming out and recording himself saying fake news to the world. It would crash his career. It would crash him. It would be done. So I do not, he didn't look drunk. He looked so sober. He just did not want to sound, committed, to confirm, like he knows and, all the details. He just gave you the news. And I've told you, I think Manchester United legends, that's why they've been quiet, because they don't know who is going to buy. So if you come up and show your side, obviously, if your side doesn't take it, certainly it's going to cause problems for you as a fan, or rather as a legend of the club. So you don't want to be a legend of a club which you cannot comfortably access, because maybe the owners are owners you were against publicly. And you understand this. That's why most people are asking, why are the Manchester United legends not talking about this bidding? Because they are certainly, all of them must have sides, but they also, you can't come out and talk unless you're sure. If you're a club legend, I can come. I'm not a Manchester United legend. I can comfortably come and show my side even now before it is confirmed. But for Rio Ferdinand to put himself in such a situation and come out, record a video of himself confirming this takeover, it shows you that actually it is done. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't have done it, in his right mind. Jump out of a train. He couldn't even wait, have the patience to go and maybe wait for his upcoming podcast and record himself in a proper setup. But he just came out, stood outside the train, recorded himself with the phone, saying the Qatar takeover is imminent. It will be announced soon, confidently. For me, guys, that's the announcement we needed. Who better than a club legend like Rio Ferdinand to come out and make this announcement? What more do you need? If you're denying, tweets from Al Watan, the newspaper owned by Sheikh Jassim's father, if you're denying, if you feel the reports coming through from all these newspapers, Sky Sports and what have you, are wrong, can you deny? Can you refute, rebuff reports, or not even reports, a statement? That's a statement, an official statement from a former captain of Manchester United, a legend of the club, Rio Ferdinand. How do you? This is not a game, guys, because there are consequences. If Qatar doesn't take over this, there are consequences for Rio Ferdinand and what he said. There would be huge consequences, and he knows. So for me, that's the confirmation we needed, and we should be celebrating. Now, let me get back to Robinson Francis, who is asking which players are they focusing on to sign in the transfer window. Now, there are new developments concerning the transfers, and these do sort of cause some bit of worry, but the latest has been Bayern Munich showing interest, jumping onto the radar to try and sign Kim Min-jae. That is the defender from Napoli. Remember, Bayern Munich is also in a rebuilding process. So it is said that they have also jumped on to try and sign Kim Min-jae. That's the Napoli centre-back who refused to extend his contract with Napoli. But they have agreed, they have rather not agreed, they have discussed, they have held talks Bayern with the player and his team. He has listened to them, but they had already listened to Manchester United before. And the only move that has not been done yet with United, regards United and Kim Min-jae, is tabling an official bid to Napoli. They haven't done that, at least as of start of business today. They hadn't. So, but Bayern now are reported to be interested. Like they have been reported to be interested with everyone. They have been interested in Declan Rice. Declan Rice is soon going to be unveiled by Arsenal. Arsenal's bid of £80 million was rejected. That was their first bid for Declan Rice. It was rejected. Remember, West Ham said they want 100 million, and they are sure the player also wants to leave. So they want to get as much as they can get from him. So for United as well, what I'm saying is that Manchester United has been in the lead when it comes to... There are two players I think United are surely in the lead and will surely sign. United will sign Mason Mount because they made an initial bid which was rejected. They are planning to go back with a second bid. Now, whether Chelsea will accept that second bid for Mason Mount is a question we may not answer now. But why wouldn't they? I do think United will not pay £70 million for Mason Mount, but they will improve their bid to at most £50 million for me. Or maybe they can take it into add-ons, of 10 million or 15 million if we win a Champions League title or back-to-back Premier League titles and all. So that's how contracts are negotiated at times. But United is in the lead to sign Mason Mount. If any other club came out right now, I think they would have a long way to go. United is miles ahead because they have agreed with the players. And the strategy for United, for me, is a good strategy. United first approaches the player, convinces them, and then waits for the right time to go to the club. When the player is convinced by the biggest football club in the world, with one of the best managers in the world right now, Erik ten Hag, and what we've seen him do in the 12 months he has been at United, when the player's mindset is twisted and convinced that this is where you want to go, it's very difficult for you to fail them. So that's why I think, and that's why United backed out of Harry Kane, because clearly Harry Kane did not show interest in joining United, because if he did want to join United, he would have put in a transfer request. I mean, he has 1 year left on his contract, the way Kylian Mbappe did. So clearly Kylian Mbappe wants to leave the club and join either Madrid or Man United or any suitors. But Harry Kane has failed to come out and put in a transfer request. So he's dancing to the tune of Daniel Levy and Tottenham. So it shows you he's undecided. So United being, busy, you want to make your signings and be clear on where you want to go. There's no time to waste. We will not wait for that. That's what I think. So that's why United, the reports came out, and I believe them, that United are pulling out of their interest for Harry Kane because the player is not communicating, and Spurs don't seem to be willing to sell to United or a Premier League rival. But the player himself is also not coming out to clearly say where he wants to go, or put in a transfer request. So for me, that shows you that the plan for Manchester United is there, the money is there. Now they want to get moving because Erik ten Hag wants to have a proper preseason. I saw in our preseason fixture there is Arsenal. We've got to meet Arsenal in a friendly game. Oh wow, they better get a beating for themselves. They better test what United will be like. The new Althani Devils will feel like when they do when the season does start. But yeah, so Manchester United, I think, will sign Kim Min-jae. Don't worry about Bayern Munich. Let it not give you sleepless nights. I think Manchester United will sign Mason Mount. I think Manchester United will sign Rasmus Højlund. Højlund, United has been in the lead. We took scouts months ago, I think as early as January. They have been monitoring him. And he's been the target because Erik ten Hag has been clear that he wants to sign a top striker, a world-class proven striker, more senior, more experienced, but also to try to sign a younger player who will learn from the senior striker. So for me, Højlund is that younger, and he's a finisher. He's a different striker from any striker United has or has been linked to. He's the only out-and-out finisher, by the way. If you think about all players Man United has been linked to, Højlund is the only finisher. The rest are forwards who can, dilly-dally and go right, go left. Højlund is a center forward. He's a center forward, a number 9, a typical number 9. So he's different from Harry Kane. He's different from Osimhen. He's different from Kylian Mbappe. He's different from all the other, Kolomwani, different from Moussa Diaby. Now, these are the forwards United has been linked to. He's the only natural finisher, number 9. So that shows you that He is suddenly special. He has something different and is affordable. £40 million is peanuts for a 20-year-old player wanted by Manchester United with a lot of potential. He can become world class in 2 or 3 years. So for me, Hoyland, to answer you, Robinson Francis, these are the players I think will sign. In goal, Diogo Costa, I think is a question of when, not if, why. But also, by the way, on the Hoyland issue, Rasmus Hoyland is reported to be changing his agency to the same agency that manages his soon-to-be coach, Erik ten Hag. So again, for me, all those should be signs that Hoyland is one player we are taking a cruising lead on in terms of trying to sign them. So that's for me. Diogo Costa is the other player who I think for me will be an easy signing for us because Diogo Costa, first of all, his agency is the Guestfield agents owned by George Mendes. Now, George Mendes is known to do a lot of business with Manchester United from way back, from the times of Sir Alex Ferguson. I actually think George Mendes had a role in selling Bebe to Sir Alex Ferguson. I think he was the agent of Bebe. If my memory is serving me right, he's a Cristiano Ronaldo agent. But I think he was also the one who sold, because most of the players sold to United from Portugal. I think George Mendes has a hand in them. I want to recall, and I'm going to verify that, but I think George Mendes is the one who sold us the worst flop. Now, I hate to spoil it for you. Not to say that Diogo Costa can be a flop. I hate to spoil it for you because the same agent is the one who sold to us one of our best, if not the best player of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo. So, the same agent, George Mendes, is the one. So that's why I'm not trying to spoil it for you. Talking about Bebe, who I think is by far the worst flop United has had in the history of United's existence. So, but I don't want to blame Mendes, the agent, or the coach, because, I mean, all coaches sign flops. Think about Pep Guardiola. He has signed flops. Bravo, the goalkeeper. Name them, Mendy. There are so many flops. I think Cancelo. There are many flops Pep Guardiola has signed. So I think not every coach, no coach can get 100% all signings spot on. I think if you do a 60-40 or 70-30 percentage in terms of, successful players you've signed, I think it would be good business. So for me, I have no doubt that Diogo Costa would be a good signing. So Diogo Costa will be more of a speed dial away, because the agents we are dealing with, and you see, signing these footballers are like sales, proper sales. It's people, it's relationships. That's why when we are talking about Inter Milan and links with Onana, I made it clear to you here that whereas it is possible Onana is a goalkeeper would be interested in, and I think it would be a good addition to United, Inter Milan have got good relationships with Chelsea. Never mind them having rebuffed the first bid made by Chelsea. But Inter Milan have got good relationships with Chelsea. So in this business, there are relationships. So I think Manchester United has got a good relationship with Guestfield, the agent, the biggest agent in the agents in the world, owned by the super agent George Mendes. And that is why any player who is under his agency is always going to be, if United is interested in them, we are always going to have an advantage ahead of anyone else. So for me, Diogo Costa, to answer you clearly one more time, Robinson, Diogo Costa will come in, Kim Min-jae will come in, Mason Mount will come in, Rasmus Højlund will come in. I do think those are the players I feel will be the first signings we do make. For me, that's what I think. But you can give me your opinion as well. Now, again, for those who are just joining us, the big news is that documents have leaked showing the existence of the 1-2 Foundation. That's the organization or company that has been formed by Sheikh Jassim to try and push through the sale of the purchase of Manchester United from the Glazers. So that's what is happening. Kenny Watchild is saying, bro, do you think we shall acquire Mbappe? Here's what I think. I think Kylian Mbappe, if we signed Mbappe, it would solve 80% of our problems as Man United. Sign Mbappe, get a holding midfielder, maybe, or the afterthought. I think we urgently need someone to back up Casemiro. But if you have Mbappe, you can forget about Højlund, all the other players. If you have Mbappe, get a goalkeeper and Kim Min-jae centre-back. Even if we only do that business in this summer, for me, United will be competitive and we will take Manchester City for a proper run for their money. Proper, hands down. I think they will feel us. If we were in the state we are in that FA Cup final, guys, if you look at if you watch the FA Cup final critically, if we could give Man City a run for their money in that state, how good would we be against them if we have Kylian Mbappe, Diogo Costa, a better goalkeeper clearly than David De Gea, and Kim Min-jae in the central defense? I think would be unplayable. So for me, do I think we can sign Mbappe? I think so. Why? Because first of all, I would be surprised, whereas Real Madrid are money bags and they have a lot of money, I would be surprised if after signing Jude Bellingham for 100 million, they can still afford to pay close to 200 million euros for Kylian Mbappe. Unless, even if those are the only two players they would sign, I think it would be so strange, because I feel like they made moves and signed Jude Bellingham, and after signing him, they learned that Mbappe can be available for purchase, and they can't turn back. They can't, go turn things, because if they were to prioritize, if Florentino Perez, knowing the way he does business and the players he wants, I think whereas Jude Bellingham is a good player and one for the future, if we had to choose between signing Mbappe and Bellingham first, he's a 19-year-old boy, I think he would wait on Bellingham and go for Mbappe, because it's almost the same amount of money. So I think the biggest competitor for Man United in terms of Mbappe would be Real Madrid. And I feel like the Bellingham situation puts Real Madrid out of the picture. Though their president, that is Perez, did say that they submitted their plan of cutting down on their wage bill and stuff to be able to have a strong squad next season. I think what that meant is that they adjusted their finances to fit into the financial fair play by UEFA and be able to to afford to pay very expensive players like Bellingham and maybe Mbappe. I would be surprised though, like I said, if that happened. I wouldn't really totally believe it. So, do we have a chance to sign Mbappe? Mbappe is believed to prefer England over Spain because he knows England is more competitive, but also he wants to be in the center of attention, in the center of all the attention. I mean, the Premier League is the league that is watched by the world, I think, most obviously. Now, Mbappe, 24-year-old player who has earned everything, he wants to be a part of that, the attention. I think he would want to be a part of to enjoy the attention. So that's why I think, yes, we have a chance. It depends on whether we are interested, but also if we have the money. Remember, and the money seems to be there because, like I said, it's clear Sheikh Jassim is going to be taking over Manchester United. Now, it was reported in these continued leaked reports that we keep getting, it was leaked that Sheikh Jassim's plan for Man United was already in place and actually discussed with Erik ten Hag. Yes, that was said. You have no reason to doubt it. And that plan involves signing Kylian Mbappe. And that's why Mbappe came up and dropped a bombshell saying he's not extending his contract. After the end of his contract, after the end of this current, this summer, his current contract, that runs out at the end of the next summer. That's 1 year left on his contract. He said he's not renewing, triggering the 1 year extension he has got in his contract. Why? Is it a coincidence that it happens now when the takeover is imminent, when there are reports that Sheikh Jassim and his camp do want to sign Mbappe as one of the first players to announce their arrival at Manchester United? Think about it, guys. We as journalists, this is how we, analyze stories and, you see the news behind the news. You analyze the situation. You think about it. Put 1 + 2 + 3 together and try to come up with a complete equation. Go round the ball. So right now the ball is Manchester United and the reports are there. So go round it and see whether the circle is complete. For me, the circle is almost complete, only pending one thing: confirmation by the Glazers. And with everything we've heard, I think 99% of the reports and rumors we've heard about this takeover, about Kylian Mbappe, for me, are correct. So that's why I will answer you, Kini Watchard, and I'm saying, going by what we've heard, my analysis of the whole United situation, I think it is possible we can have Kylian Mbappe. That is why we have even said we have given up on Harry Kane. We are going to sign Rasmus Højlund. Then we sign Kylian Mbappe, meaning we have the money. We are going to sell some players. Of course, Maguire, who doesn't want to go, we will pay him because we have money from Sheikh Jassim. Maguire will be paid out in his contract. United have got to pay him £10 million if they want to force him out of the club. That's why he's insisting he doesn't want to go even when Spurs wants him, which is okay. We have the money now. We'll sell Maguire. We'll sell Anthony Martial. If we get no buyer for Martial, we'll look for one. Already we've put Jadon Sancho on the market. So that shows you the confidence. You don't think Erik ten Hag will put Sancho on the market if he doesn't have the confidence that he's going to have more money to spend. So for me, I tell you, it's a positive, it's a hopeful window. I think looks like it's going to be an exciting window for Manchester United. Ibrahim Salim is saying, so Man United are not going to sign a defensive midfielder. Well, we had spoken about Caicedo and all, and thank you, Ibrahim Salim, for this. We had spoken about Caicedo, but United has not been linked to so many defensive midfielders. Obviously, right now, the battle for Caicedo is between Arsenal and Chelsea, but I think certainly Arsenal are in a cruising lead. But I think Manchester United have not been so intent on signing a holding midfielder, but I believe it's a key area we need to solve if we are going to have a competitive season. I think it's a key area we need to solve. Maybe not now. Maybe in the next window, in Jan, maybe. Maybe not, but we need to think about it. Like I said, with Casemiro fit, it's not exactly a matter of urgency. It's not urgent. But maybe in Jan, because that's when now the hot fixtures will be coming in. I think if we can find a good holding fielder in Jan, I think it's very prudent that we get one. I do think United need a holding midfielder to support Casemiro. The man is 31. I mean, you don't expect him to play in the Premier League with this intensity. And also, you see how much yards he covers in a game. When he's not there, United is exposed as the word. So I do think we do need to sign a holding midfielder to back him out. And a world-class holding midfielder, by the way. There are not so many on the market. That's why all clubs are panting on Caicedo. Even Bayern apparently jumped on the boat. United was linked with him. He's the best central defender, I think, young holding midfielder right now. But we will take time maybe and get the correct one. But I don't think it's urgent, but we can first, the most important role for United to solve for me right now is the striking position, the goalkeeping position, and the centre-back position. And if I'm to put that in order, striking first, goalkeeping second, centre-back third. For me, that's the order. Capminati saying, what if Qatar don't acquire United? It's possible. Well, that's also not an impossibility, guys. It's possible, but the chances, the odds for me are too small. But it can only happen because of the reports we are hearing that Premier League clubs are ganging up against Qatar because, of course, of the money. These guys are worth 275 billion pounds as a family. They are saying Qatar is taking over. It's not an individual. It's not Jassim. Jassim is a facade and all. Well, they should, because, of course, they should be worried about what's coming. So for me, that shouldn't worry me. But it seems they have ganged up to try and get the FA to deny or to refuse this buyout. But again, if you look at the bigger picture, for the good of the game, it's only right that United is competing at the same level as Manchester City. So if you accepted the Saudi money, I had no one talking about trying to investigate where Sheikh Mansour gets his money. The man alone is worth 30 billion US dollars. Him alone, Sheikh Mansour, the Man City owner, he's worth 30 billion US dollars. He's one of the richest people in the world. Our dad, the dad of our Sheikh Jassim, is worth 1.2 billion US dollars. But the family is worth 275 billion pounds. So you can see. So the haters will come out and say, don't accept, but it's because of fear. So for me, that shouldn't be an issue of concern. Issa Lukanga saying, what of Kim and Bayern Munich? I spoke about it earlier. I'll remind you, I think you're just joining us, Issa. I said that Bayern Munich have also made an approach and spoken to the player and his team. The player. Guys, when you're talking transfers, there are two parties. There is a player, he has his team, his agent, and his representatives. And there is the club. So, it depends on your approach. Most teams these days first go to the player. Before, back then, teams would go to the club, and if the two clubs agree, they would force the player. You have no option. The team owns you, they sell you, even against your contract. The game has changed now to protect, because the power has got to be mostly with the players. Otherwise, clubs would disrespect players. So, today, if you're going to, the right strategy for you to sign a player is to first go and convince the player. And I think in any business, it would be the right thing to do. First, go and convince the player, the individual. Go and convince them. And then, if they are interested, confuse them and convince them to come and join your party, to want to join you, to want out. And when that happens, then you can approach the club and negotiate. That's why Chelsea are facing issues with Mason Mount right now, because United went and convinced Mount that we don't have money now but we want you. We are going to pay you this money. We are sure we'll get money. What was the assurance? Sheikh Jassim. They knew the Sheikh Jassim money was coming. So we are going to come for you. We are going to pay you this amount of money. We want to get you out of your misery. You can't be playing in the Conference League or whatever. You are not even playing in Europe. So the player is excited. So that's the strategy you do if you're going to get some of these big players. So the player is excited. Then when the player is excited, at the right time, make the move and go to the club. That's what United did. So it's the same thing with Kim Min-jae and Bayern. So United went as early, because like I told you, from as early as Jan, United had scouts in Italy monitoring two players, Kim Min-jae and Rasmus Højlund, the striker from Atalanta. So they have been monitoring them and they are convinced, and Ten Hag is convinced that these are the players he wants. So what they did is they went and spoke to the player himself and approached him and his team, and they agreed on a few things. So they say, we are getting you. Then they said at the right time, when the window is officially open, we shall go now respectfully and approach the club. So right now that's what they are waiting. That's what now that's what they're executing now. That's the plan I spoke about. That Ten Hag's plan has been there. They prepared. That's how you run an organization. That's why you're called a manager. Managers run organizations strategically. So you don't plan in the moment. So United had a transfer plan. That's a very important, because the transfer window is the most important part of a season, by the way. How you do business is the most important part of the season. Transfer window, pre-season. Those are the most important parts of a season. That is why we keep complaining if the Glazers keep holding on to the information and they are not releasing information and money. The longer United takes without doing business in the window, and they have to do deadline transfers the way we signed Anthony Dos Santos at the end of the last window, it is causing problems to the team, because during the season, the games are coming in thick and fast. You have no time to train players, have them jail. The few days, you have 2 days with the player. After a game, you have one game the other day. Now, if you're on the continent, every other day you have a match. You have no time to build a squad. That is why transfer business is supposed to be done early. That's why Manchester City now, they are not doing any business. So that's why they will be even tougher, because Pep has all the time. He wants to sign 1 or 2 players. There is no pressure. Even if Man City doesn't sign a single player right now, they would still compete with that squad and they will be so competitive. Now, Arsenal, Man, you have got to do their business early, so that when the preseason starts, Ten Hag is coming back from his leave next week from Ibiza, where he's reportedly been on holiday. When he comes back, he wants to know, in maybe the next 1 or 2 weeks at most, I'm going to be able to sign all the players I want. Then we go to our preseason together. Have a good preseason. That is why after the preseason, when the season begins, if you listen to coaches when they are giving their pre-match and interviews, they always say, we had a good preseason, we had a fair preseason. Those are signs. If the coach says they had a good preseason, it shows you they have no excuse. If things don't go well for them, I think for me then that's it. They will fire them. That's why certain coaches are fired faster than the others, because if you have a proper, complete preseason, you have no excuse. You bought the players you wanted in time. You have a good preseason with all your players. You've gone to the places you wanted to go to. What excuse do you have for not performing when you're earning millions of pounds? So that is exactly what I'm saying. So I think Manchester United has had their plan in place for a long time, and Ten Hag has been working with his team. That's why I'm saying behind the first plan, United must have had an A plan. When the ownership issue is sorted, in the ideal situation, when you have money, these are the players we want. Then they must have had a B and C plan. So the speculations we are hearing are from those different plans. That's why there are so many players. United will not sign all those players they have been linked to. But you can look and assess the players, and of course the interest the club has had in them, and you know where they fall in terms of the plan for the manager. So I do think that United now is executing plan A. And plan A has been Diogo Costa, plan A has been Mason Mount, plan A was Harry Kane, but because of the lack of response from Daniel Levy, they have pulled out of Kane. Now Kylian Mbappe has come into the picture at a time when the Jassim money is coming in, so Mbappe might now becoming plan A. Plan A had having a younger striker who is going to learn from the more experienced, that is Rasmus Højlund. Plan A had Kim Min-jae. Plan A had Mason Mount. That is plan A that Manchester United is executing. So for me, I do think right now, whereas Bayern Munich has come in now, it's too late. They have spoken to the player, but I'm sure the player has told them, guys, I even said my goodbyes to Napoli players. I'm going to Manchester United. But even if it were you, to be honest, now, no disrespect to Bayern Munich, it's a historical club and all, but guys, would you choose Bayern Munich, a team that is guaranteed winning the Bundesliga? I don't want to call it a farmers league. I would sound, mean. But would you choose, as a footballer who has got ambition, would you choose Bayern Munich over a Manchester United that week in, week out plays to the biggest crowd in football, against teams like Manchester City, teams like Chelsea that are boosting, teams like Newcastle that are becoming better now? Would you choose, and also playing in Europe, on the continent, with the history it has, would you as a player choose Bayern Munich in this day and age? Maybe years ago when you won the treble, maybe a player would have a thought in terms of choosing which club to go to. Because I'm sure whatever Bayern Munich can afford to pay Kim, Man United can afford. But I'm sure Man United has shown him that they want him more. And those are things that matter to players when they are making decisions. So for me, I don't think Bayern should put us under pressure. If Declan Rice could refuse to cross to Bayern and choose Arsenal, but also a player who has played and is wanted in the UK, it's very difficult for them to decide to go to Germany. I mean, the only team you want to go to if you're a UK-born player outside England, if Man United, Chelsea, the top 4 teams want you, the only team you would want to go for, you'd choose over them would be Real Madrid and maybe the past Barcelona of Pep Guardiola. Not even this Javi Barcelona, the past Barcelona. But it's only, that's why you can't blame Bellingham. Even if United wanted Jude Bellingham, he even said it, so many teams wanted him in England, but he chose the biggest club in the world, Real Madrid, in his view. But which might make sense now because of their pedigree, but I don't think it's necessarily the biggest club in the world. Guys, anyway, Man United I think is. Issa Lukanga, Kim and Bayern, forget about that. Bayern is not taking Kim. Kim is coming to United. Issa Lukanga saying Frimpong issue. Ibrahim Salim saying, what about Adrien Rabiot coming for free? I think he will come for free. He's a free agent at the end of this month. So I think he's one of the few players who will get on freely. But we may not even need him if you have the money. But guys, thank you so much. I'll be back at 10 so that we talk more about the fixtures that came out today. Thank you so much. It's the Hotspot. My name is Webb. Guys, I will be back exactly 10. Set your notifications. Subscribe if you haven't, because we are going to talk more about Manchester United. There's a lot to talk about Manchester United. That's it for now, guys.